to this bit, which is how to log in. So I'm logging onto a different system. Right, so you come onto this. Nope, otherwise people then can change. My password, I'm one of the people who's one of the leads, so therefore my password will get you to be able to do a lot of things, so I'll never save it. So now we're back to this screen. What we've got is centre details, so this is where I am. All this you can see, we can put courses on, faculty. So, first of all, the thing that you're interested in is this. No, we're just looking, this has changed it all, you see. We can have a training centre report. So, let me show you this first before we do it. As a training centre, we can generate a report. This is for approximately the last year, so that should generate in a few moments. While it's generating.
It's waiting.
Waiting. I don't know what it's waiting for.
Network.
Go to this while it's waiting. You want to share it out, it's knocked off again. That's what they've done as a consultant. Some guys on these courses have done less, have done more.
Review the MNMs of that consultant
Yes.
and complication rates.
Yes.
And then he will decide which surgeons he wanted to follow. Definitely he will follow a surgeon who do less complications.
Not necessarily. See, the thing is that I will take people who've got, one of those has got more complications.
Because they know much?
Because they actually have more challenging cases.
Okay.
So sometimes you've got to balance between the two. For some reason this is not working. Sharia, where are you? So when Sharia comes back we'll show you. So what you can do is that JETS is an electronic method of collecting data about yourself. We can monitor it.
It's recording. You stop the web page from the X in the top left corner.
This one?
It's my job. And generate report once again.
Slow down, yeah, that means speed is slow down. Router जो लगा होगा उसे speed कम करेगा.
The internet's not working. Try it again. looks like he's doing it this time. That's fine. So, what we've got is a list of people. The ones in yellow haven't accepted yet. They've accepted, but I haven't seen them to discuss their accreditation levels. One is that you're learning and someone will always be present. Two, someone will always be present, but you're able to do the test, and there should be very few uncorrected. Three, you're accredited to do the test. Four, you're actually a trainer. Five, you've also done an appropriate course to actually do that. And then if we actually look on the system, 6 is a national lead, and there's very few of those around. Okay, so you can see from here, these are all the consultants who teach. Farouk, Zia, who is here, you can see, he's achieved all this. Yes, we have different standards when it comes to ERCP, so that's on it. This is level 4 polyps, so you're wondering what the polypectomy is. And we're looking at the accreditation. And now he's a trainer. So what we do is that this is just at a glance what happens. Now if I was actually then to show you, say, Farouk's, Zia's portfolio, I can amend your accreditation at any point in time. So Zia's portfolio is this. Training summary. So training summary in who he's working with. Training feedback. So who he gets training feedback from, which he hasn't got it at the moment. Faculty. As faculty. He hasn't got enough, so therefore you can't access it. His profile, so you can see email address, etc. Baseline, so this enables you to look across the board here and see where they're at. MB highlighted rows, placements, so his placement's finished now, so this would then fill in his next placement. King's Mill, colon, these are the procedures, every single procedure you do, you log it on. So every single procedure that you've done, you log on the system, and you can see how many is logged on. So if we go here, you can then click it, and you can bring it up. And you can see OGD, 2D2, extent by trainee. If you didn't get out of the stomach, you'd write stomach, and then the trainer finished the test. All these type of things. Then we come back and say, personal development. So you'll sit down and you'll talk with one of us about what your objectives are for the year, etc. And we see you and sit down with you every 6 months, etc. DOPS, this is the most important part. This is about you as an individual. Directly observed procedures. Okay, that's what it's about. Now if we look here, colon, and that's the bit where we talk, this is how many he's got of a high standard. So show DOPS list. And that's who's done the DOPS. So we all fill them in. I'm his main training lead, so that's what happens. And if we pull one of these up, and Zia doesn't mind because I've asked him before, so we pull one up. And what it asks you, the same things we've asked you today. Now, what I do is that I look at your level. So currently you're achieving a 4 or a 3. That's fine. But some people are saying a 4 should be that you should be operating to the same level as me. Now, a 4 you should be operating to the same level as Sam. I look at it like this, a 4 you should be very safe and know all the answers to anything that happens. And if you're safe and you're able to do it, then I don't know, you've got a 4, you've got a principle. But what you've got to do is understand that. So, yeah, able to take consent, all the usual things. Applicable, not applicable, and straight 4s. Now, the UK system, you have to be straight 4s in everything before you can be accredited. Like it. Right. Courses. So you can see all the courses that he's done, and these are all national courses, and you get the feedback appropriately. Appraisal. We do you an online appraisal. Now, the appraisal. You're going to look at it and you're going to think, appraisal, what's the important thing to this is that now Zia will come back here, he can ask him to pull up his portfolio, and he can see what's been written about him. He doesn't have to contact me anymore. He can see who's written it, what they've written, etc. So this is all electronic. Objectification, this is the bit that interests you guys. Okay? Overview. And this is the overview, what you should be doing. OGD. Now, OGD, you're probably thinking, what? So you can see, all ticks. D2, you've got to be 92%. 95% into D2. J manoeuvres. Some people don't tick on the J manoeuvre. You've got to do this number of procedures. You've then got to go and do another number of procedures after that. You've then got to be assessed. You've then got to be sent to one of the trainers, who's me, and then I say, yes you can, no you can't. And then that gets then submitted to national office, who then check everything again. I check your portfolio, and I say whether you should or whether you shouldn't. And that's it. It comes back. Colonoscopy provisional. Right, so you've done your course, so you get your tick. So you've done this course. There you go. Same course as you guys do. You've got a cecal intubation rate. Look at that. That is a genuine cecal intubation rate. Okay. He came to us with a cecal intubation rate of 90%. He's going away with a cecal intubation rate of 97.7%. That's all comers, point, everything. That's what he's coming away with. Now, you may be sitting down thinking, and it's a genuine thing because we picture everything, and everything is double checked. And the other thing is, you're probably going to sit there and say, right, so today, we sat there in this video. Now what happens after the end of the procedures here, which you don't really realise, is that the guy who's been helping organise the course, he writes the report, we talk to him, and he writes the report, but he also revisits the procedure, and he looks at the video. So you say you've got to the cecum, he's looking to see the... So if you remember when I said, can I have the scope a minute, and I need to show him something more definitive, and you were saying, well I've seen it, we've seen it, but I wanted it up on the screen for 3 seconds, so when he comes back, he checks it, and then he can see it. So here, unbeknownst to you guys, your cecal intubation rate is secondary checked. In the UK, it's not secret. You get to the cecum, appendix, and the nurse who's in the room, the senior nurse in the room goes, yes, I see it. Terminal ileum, prove it. That's what they'll say to you. So, 97.7, it's correct. In our unit, it's correct. Okay, this is here. We're looking at DOPS. He's forever wanting DOPS, check. So this is how we assess it. So more than 10, green. Formative, been done, 100%, not a problem. 4s, they have to be 4s or equivalents. Absolutely fine. I'll come to that. What do you think the difference is?
And this is
Now, for basic skills colonoscopy, up to 10mm, that gets you basic skills accredited. Level 2, he had to do a different course, and I've showed you that already on his plaque. Level 2 and level 3, that was from his plaque. He's done that course separately. And that's a 2-day course. And the interesting thing, I know Sarah, you were asking about polypectomy courses here, and they say they don't get many polyps, and that's true in Pakistan. You very rarely see. But we have a polyp MDT every other week. And at the polyp MDT, 5 centimetres, cecal, LST, what are we going to do about it? Which one of us fancies doing it? Me or you? He fancies doing it, he does it. Then we'll say, we'll look at it, is it appropriate for a trainee? Which trainees have we got on the programme at the moment? Zia, Amadeep? Right, I think this one's more appropriate for Zia. Zia, do you want to go and do this? It's on Monday morning, this time, this day. That's how it works. So you get told, you turn up, you do it, and that's how it works. End of story. And you get polyps. So I know Monday morning, when I go back this week, I'm doing a course. But a week on Monday morning, I have got 3 large polyps to do. I know that, because that's my day. And large polyps, I always do in the morning. I never do it in the afternoon. If you turn up in the afternoon, if you want me to look, I'll look, but I'm not going to do anything. I'll do it in the morning, because then I've got access to a surgeon. And that's how we do it for training purposes. So DOPIS, you then look at how they position the scope, you look at how they hold the scope, you look at how they actually snare the scope. Then the most important thing is, do they know what diathermy settings that we use? I'm not going to bore you with the diathermy settings because Vakar may go through that shortly, but they must know what the diathermy settings are, know how to apply diathermy, know what you're talking about. keep it under direct vision. If there's an immediate complication, do you know what to do? And if there is a complication, are you able to do it? Are you able to use the accessories that's appropriate? If you can't, you should be doing it. So we get you to practice in various different ways. You do the course, total lifetime, and then you have to go and do procedures after to actually then get accredited. So while he was with us, he's done 500 procedures. Yeah, that's on this system. So he's done 500 procedures. And that gets him then, so that's for provisional. So once he's got his provisional, which is the 200, sends all this in, he then has to do a further lot of procedures to get his full accreditation, which then are here. So you've got your 200, which you have to do, that bit, and then you have to do another 150 on top. And there you go. See how different this is. So number of procedures completed since award done. So ignore that, because what happens is that it stops once you put them under the accreditation system, but his portfolio stays live. So what they do, granted, you can see what we're looking at, and then you can see 3s and 4s, and this is up to and including level 2. So now it's level 2 polypectomy. That's up to 3 centimetres. So you've got that period to learn how to do all those. Sedation rate for under 70s, sedation rate for over 70s, so you can see what we're looking into. And then, again, sent to us, sent to the training lead myself, submitted on the same day, came back, etc., etc. And that's what you write. And then you write down, you cannot submit it without writing something. So you have to write something. Now, the interesting thing about this, it's not free. The course that you're currently doing is £1,100 in the UK. The courses that he has done are approximately £6,000 that is completed in 1 year. So that's all sorted. Also, every year he has to pay £70 to stay on the system. I don't. Sajda don't. He don't. He will. And FlexiSig is different. With regards to FlexiSig, it's covered by colonoscopy. If you do colonoscopy, you don't need to do this. So even though he sent me lots to do at FlexiSig, I ignored them. And this only goes up if I actually do something about it. And I ignored it on the basis that it's colonoscopy. So he doesn't need it.
I find this thing a little absurd. If somebody is being accredited for colonoscopy, why do you want to even know about FlexiSig?
We've got in the UK, we've got a lot of nurses who do procedures.
Yeah, I can understand.
FlexiSig only. I disagree with doing this for FlexiSig. I think everybody should do colonoscopy, personally, do the colonoscopy course, because your natural progression is after a period of time to move on to colonoscopy. This course, FlexiSig course, costs £950. A colonoscopy course, £1,100. Now, this course is 2 days. The other course is 3 days. You're going to get more out of a 3-day course than a 2-day course. And the way we do it, and the way I do it, is that you'll submit, I expect to see that data that I've sent round and you've looked at, and then I gear the cases towards you. So I look at who you are, what you've done, and then the course, on a polypectomy course, is geared towards you. So if you're just starting out, you've only done level 2s, you won't get any bigger polyp than 25mm polyp. But if you're a consultant for a long time, you've done X number of procedures, you've taken off a lot of polyps of certain sizes, I'll make sure you get something that's going to make you frightened. You will get something. You know, you may not even be able to take it off, but that is actually the right thing to have on a polypectomy course. How to assess a polyp when it is and when it isn't. So when we come back to all of these courses, etc., it's when is it safe to do something, when is it more appropriate to do nothing. And this course should be about showing you a safe, methodical way of doing things, but it also should be reminding you when not to do something. That's a big take-home message from here. So when we look at Zia's achievements. He's done an awful lot in the time that he's been with us. As you can see, again, we're coming back to this, all his data. This will stay with him as long as he wishes to continue to keep it update. He can generate a printout of all his activity. This feedback I normally generate and then write something, then give it to the individual concerned so they go away with for the period of time that they were there. On it we visit the complications, etc., mispathologies, all this type of stuff. I get to find out everything about who, what, where, when. And when I come back, it's my job then to sit down and chat to you. My job is not to tell you off, my job is to actually get you to see the positives from a negative. And that's what it's about. So when we come back to JAG and how we collect our data, it's being honest. But even if you lie, our other electronic system, we don't rely on this, our other electronic system tells us the truth. So there's another electronic system that is the reporting tool. And on the reporting tool itself, we fill out things like so very similar to yourselves. And we'll have all this down. And there is hidden things that you can't see, that the nurses fill in. And then we compare this again, well I do, this is what the trainee is supposed to do. And I compare what's on here against there. And if the two don't match, I then start asking you questions. Because a lot of these systems are fallible to the fact of, he's a nice guy, he gets a 1 for pain. I didn't like him, he gets a 3 for pain. That happens in the UK. Now your pain scores are very important. Now Zia's pain scores are very low. And that's not because they like him, which they do. And it's not because he's a nice guy, which he is. And it's not because he's real good at what he does, because he is. But at the end of the day, his pain scores are low because he listens. And he's very, very good, indeed. So when we come back to the centres themselves, I like to show you what the new people are doing. So this is what Zia is doing. So just for yourself, if I actually brought up here, if I can find it, because after time I can never look at it and I struggle. Here, trust user admin, let's go back the easier route. So trust user admin. So the clever clogs one here with the 6s across the board, there's a new level. I've been promoted. So JAG certification, what are you expecting? These are all the people that I teach. So Paul's JAG certification, colonoscopy full. It'll come up eventually, I daren't click it a second time. Right. 0. 0. Don't know how they got that because I've done nothing. That's me. I don't fill it in. He doesn't have to. You don't fill it in. Sajda don't fill it in. We don't fill it in. So what I'm trying to show you is that when you get to that's just being jokes aside. So you've got to look and see the funny side of it. So the funny side of it is once you get to a certain position, you don't have to do half of this. But Zia, if he stayed in the UK and became a consultant, it will be a requirement. You go for your interview, they'll look at this. You have to print it out, it has to be checked, and also what they're starting to do now is that people, if they have a complication, they're looking at who taught you how to do this. Then they're going back to the person who taught you. And you can ask Vakar that and say, this person's had a complication, you taught them how to do this. And that's how we do it in the UK. Absolutely brilliant, isn't it? So if we look at the system there, you can see how people get accredited. All these people have been accredited. This is a consultant. He currently works in Mansfield. He's been there for 2 years. He will not be accredited till he gives me his formal portfolio. When we have our external visit in 2 weeks' time, the people will come in and they'll say, there's a consultant on your department. He's been here for 2 years and he's not accredited on your system. And I do it because he hasn't given me it. And I will not play ball. I will not accredit him until he shows me the evidence. Show me the evidence, it will go on. Don't show me the evidence, it doesn't happen. And the man is at risk of actually being suspended. You can ask Vakar, because that's how serious it can become. So what I'm going to do now is, this chap is coming over to the UK shortly. He's a surgeon, and what happens is that you can come onto the system. Well, I can, you can't. And I can look at what they're going to do. Now, this chap is going to be colorectal. I'll log him into us at King's Mill. I'll accredit him at training at gastroscopy, but I'll leave everything else as 0. I'll accredit him as training with regards flexi-sig, and I'll credit him as training at colonoscopy level 1 and level 1 polyps. Then we come down to here, save. Then what we'll do, we'll come back to trust user admin, click it. Now some of you will recognise the name. Now he's gone from yellow. Okay? Yeah? So he's gone from yellow. And that's the most important thing, how it works. So I can actually come across and I can say all sorts of things and sort that out. The other thing is on the system, that if somebody then comes on and says, right, as a trainer, you have a right to give feedback on us. So I'm going to come down here now and say to you, right, here's Paul Hagen. Now we go across. We look at this and we say e-portfolio. And there's an extra line. Now this is where you come in. You fill out your list that you've done. So all these guys fill out a list that have worked with me. So they fill it out. And then they actually then assess you. It's anonymised. You don't know who's doing it. But when you're as old as me and you know the system, I can find out who's doing it. So you probably think, what's the purpose of that? So training feedback. Now this is a bit. If we look at training feedback, you can see there that training feedback, we've got some reds coming down this side. So red means that strongly disagree. Strongly disagree with what? Strongly disagree with the fact that Paul make me feel at ease and not rushed. If you look at my image, it is a red, all right? So you're now thinking, oh my word, Paul's got reds and all this. It's not. This is for all the trainers, okay? So now we'll pull up mine. So this is me. So no reds, no orange. Green means, yeah, they agree. Yellow means agree. What I tend to do is slightly different to a lot of trainers. I'll sit you down and I'll say to you, how's it gone today? I've done your DOPS, I'm going to do that. Is there anything else I could do differently? Did you achieve what you wanted to achieve? We've sat down before, we achieved all the targets. Okay, so if you then come along and write a red, I'll say you're a liar. I'm quite happy, because if you haven't got the guts and gumption to say to me that I didn't help you achieve what you needed to achieve today, then what gives you the right to do? So I'll be quiet, but I'll be nice about it, but I won't be too nice about it. It's because the same thing is that I'll chat to you and I'll say to you, you know, but if you feel that I didn't, tell me why. What is it that we need to change? How do we do about it? And so that's what you need to do. You need to be honest between yourself and trainer to help you achieve what you need to achieve. And how I am here is how I am back there. Very approachable, very easygoing, not a problem. But all you need to do is talk and just say, can I have a quiet? Okay, not a problem. This is what we need to sort, and we do it. The other thing is what people do, is that they fill out comments about you down the bottom. If you want me to leave those comments up for a moment, I'm more than happy to, but you don't know who's wrote them. So you can see comments. All right. So you can see what they write, you can see what they say. Now this is probably recently, and this is about every one of us. Vakar will have the same thing, I've got the same thing, all these. But if we go right back when, and I'm talking now that my system started live in 2008, so 7 years ago. So right back when this system came live, so we go back to right back here, or 10 or whatever, let's go on to somewhere else. You can see it doesn't change much. Doesn't change much at all. The most important thing about training and teaching, this is back in 2008. So you've got to focus. Now if you're actually looking at how many times I've done, you look here and these are the figures. These are the number of episodes that are reported on. The interesting thing about what I can do, I can look at people and I can say, right, you're coming onto my course. Brian, who is the national training lead, absolutely, he's done as much as me. He goes around doing the same things, and yeah, he's got a few reds. But that doesn't mean anything. The fact is that we're very similar. We've got a very similar teaching technique, okay, and we get also the very similar results. Lorraine doesn't mind because there's an anomaly in the system. I think I said that correctly, only just. That's the one who's guilty. Now the reason why it's guilty is that the person who actually filled out the card wrong. And what the system, and I'll tell you what they did. The person turned up expecting to have colonoscopies on the list, and there wasn't colonoscopies on the list, just gastroscopies. So they said, so Lorraine said to the person, right, there's no point in you being here, because there's nothing for you to do. She didn't teach them because there was nothing to teach them. Specific teaching skills. So this person took the umbrage and went away and did it. There's also been cases of somebody 2 years down the line, because if I've worked with you now today, 2 years' time, if you're on the city, you can come back and you can write a report about me on here. I can find it, but I can write out a report. But you can do it. So this system has an anomaly. So you've got to bear that in mind. Now, Lorraine, this person, is that on? This person's working with me as of this week for the next year, who did the reds. And Lorraine. So, be honest, right? Lorraine was probably a little bit too, as I said to you, she's quite down to earth. So the system itself, I think, works on the whole. It is a little bit cumbersome, it is a bit laborious, but the data collection is robust. It has to be cross-checked, it has to be cross-referenced. It helps us as trainers who are interested in being trainers. You can come along and you can see who's who. Steve, for example, he's a trainer. He's been training since 2011 properly. And you can see people are honest about what they write. They put it on. And you know, I'm very proud of what I've done. Vakar's very proud of what he's done. My family are very proud of what I've achieved. They're very proud of what he's achieved. So with that in mind, you want to try and keep up there. Lorraine's very proud of what she's achieved, Brian's very proud of, and what we want to do is share that. And if you can share it, but also be open to people talking to you and asking you and questioning you, which sometimes over here people on day one you don't like to question. Day three you question. You question very openly on day three. And I like to see is people saying, can you just explain this, why that, who, when, what, how. And that's the most important thing about teaching and training, is learning and developing. The other thing what we do is that we fill out a report on all trainers. So I fill out this, I print this out, anonymise it, and it gets sent to national office so people then can see it. And I then write to you and say these are specific learning objectives for you as a trainer, as well as a trainee. So that's JAG. Any questions? It's a tool, it's something you shouldn't be frightened of, and it's a tool. In Ireland, that is actually a swear word. Is there anything else you want us to just touch on? Happy with that? No questions? Yeah. Would you be happy to keep something like that for yourselves? No.
No, I think it's a very good system because I've been through the whole sequence of endoscopy in UK because I've been in gastroenterology, specifically the specialty of gastroenterology for 29 years. So it has seen a lot of change during that time. And To be quite honest, our practice in UK, as Paul confirmed, was unregulated. Any idiot could come and do an endoscopy with you. I used to get a lot of people from Pakistan and India coming to me, SHOs, at SHO level, registrar level, doing nephrology or pulmonology or endocrinology, or sir, can you teach me how to do endoscopy? Why? Because I'm going back to India or Pakistan and I want to set up my own practice there. And that was a common thing there. And a lot of the time I would turn down the request, sometimes for some reason you would entertain them. But that shows how lax the practices were. And I'm sure you would have had the same sort of experience.
The thing about when that...
When I started as a consultant in my hospital where I'm working now for 20 years as a consultant, the endoscopy street next door to me, there used to be a list done by a vascular surgeon for the people. Vascular surgeon. Now this is in good old England. Now he used to do, I would do 20 minutes on my list, just 2 minutes for colonoscopy. And Bill would do about 6 minutes at the most. You know, one colonoscopy would be most of the time half done and then sent for plain enema and a few OTPs and that would be it. So I still talked him into this and you know, you've got better things to do like, you know, operating on your 10 minutes and all that. Why don't you give this to me? He said, oh, the only reason I've kept this listed because I want my patient to be done immediately, instantly when I see it in there. So I said, look, you give me this list, your wish is my command. You want your patient to be done yesterday, I'll do it yesterday. And I took that list over for him. And a lot of other people, and actually there was no question of their skill or anything. When I was being trained, I was never taught formally like the way we are teaching now. We just were told by our boss to get on with it and give me a shout into the public. And most of the time we never give a shout. So eventually we sort of learned one way or another, we thrown in a deep end, but But the good thing about the system in UK is that everything of all your clinical activity is audited. And the whole concept of audit is basically you look at your practice with transparency and you see, identify where the problems are, and then you try to address those problems, and then you re-audit the whole process again to see if there is any improvement. And I think this is what you need, not just in endoscopy, but in every walk of life. And that's why if it is applied to medicine, to politics, to social activities, your system will stand out from top to bottom. So this is where in 2004 the first NC audit came out on sedation. And that is where our practices started changing. And we were all told that we have to go undergo a assessment of our, we cross-assess each other. And all our secret intubation rate, our sedation, everything is logged. And I'm sent an annual report by one of my colleagues, and we do that. Now, if anyone is failing those criteria, he is advised either to go for retraining or stop practicing. So that is the beauty of it. And I think every system, every place should have this system. And in fact, I think we have led the way even from the United States, because they are looking at it.
They're exporting this system to the United States, Australia, and to Italy and several places.
Exactly.
This system could easily be duplicated by people here, not a problem at all. But they are exporting it at a very high cost to Australia, America, not all states. That is going to.
Australia and Canada, they have all bought the GI.
Well, Australia and Canada have definitely bought it.
So this is a system which I think we should be subjecting ourselves to over here as well. And that's the only way to improve. Otherwise, even in most of the places, hospitals are not doing it. I think we have to do it. I think before, while they are setting up, can you go quickly through the case scenario? I just discussed a few. This is an interactive session, so I will encourage discussion from the session. get this business going.
Oh, shit.
Somewhere
Huh?
learning for a week or two, coming back to school,
साजा
putting in
शेरियार किधर है वो
all those basics.
I have problems with even diagnostics, but my